Hi, this is Leon Scamahorn, CEO of Innerspace Systems Corporation, and today I'll be giving the narration for the Pathfinder disassembly using the Pathfinder checklist, and I'm using the petrol handset in this post-dive checklist. Basically what I'm starting off with now is I rinse the CCR in fresh water. It's all clean, so it's ready for further disassembly. And on step 2, I record the cylinder pressures. This is after post-dive gases, so I have 2300 in the O2 bottle and I have 2650 in the diluent bottle. In step 3, I'll log the primary head voltage. In this case, I have 7.9 volts. And I'll write down the handset voltage, which is 90%. That's what it's at. And the secondary head voltage, I have 9.3 volts, and the handset is 1.33 volts. So I'm good to go there. I'm ready. If I had to do another dive, I could. Step 4, record battery operational time in table 2. And the next step, in step 5, power off the primary and secondary electronics. You no longer need them. You can see I'm dropping everything, gently dropping everything over the edge of the table. This clears my work area of hoses and so on. And so as I start disconnecting everything, I'll move everything out of my way. It's kind of like peeling an onion. So when I'm done powering off all of that, step 6, I'll close the valves on the oxygen and diluent cylinders, and then I'll bleed down all the pneumatics via the bypass valves. So here I'm bleeding down all the gases and disconnect all LP, HP hoses, remove all electrical cables from routing points. But do not disconnect the electrical cables from the head unless you want to. And then again, let all the hoses and cables hang down from the workbench. This is probably the single most longest item to do, is unhooking everything and derouting everything. You can see sitting beside the table is a bucket of disinfectant that I'll use for the counterlungs and the breathing hoses. And what I've used there is iodine. I put a little bit of iodine in some fresh water until it looks like basically tea and the color of tea. And I'll put everything in there for about 10 minutes and let it sit. All right, I'll sign off on that item. Okay, number 8, remove DSV assembly from counterlungs only. So I'm unscrewing the T-pieces from the counterlungs. Remember, you have a right-hand thread on the inhale side and a left-hand thread on the exhale side. And I droop them over the table. Number 10, remove backplate assembly in BC. or excuse me, I'm sorry, number 9, remove counter lungs, disinfect and rinse. Hang to dry upside down to dry. So now I'm removing the counter lungs. In this case, it's the top shoulder counter lung. You notice what I was doing? I had turned the counter lungs upside down to drain any biomatter out of it before I started the rinse. I submerge all the counter lungs into the iodine solution. I also close the vent valve on the exhalation counter lung, and I'm rinsing them out. I'm ensuring the disinfectant is going inside the counter lungs. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the backplate assembly in BC on step 10. I'll remove the BC. I'm blowing it up and I'll store it in an inflated fashion, and it should be fully inflated for the next time I need it. This way I know it doesn't have any air leaks in it. Remove the first stage assemblies from gas supplies, that's step 11, and reinstall your dust caps. Then hang it up. Here I'm unscrewing the O2 supply hose from the head. That's the last thing for that checkpoint. Number 12, turn Pathfinder head and remove DSV assembly from head assembly. Disinfect and rinse. I'm standing it up, turning the head, and now I can reach those head couplings for the aft breathing hoses. Lay the unit back down, it won't fall off the table. I'll remove the counter lungs and I'll just set them down full of disinfectant, and that frees up the bucket for the breathing hose itself. When you're working with the breathing hoses, you want to make sure that the lever is in the open position, in the breathing hose position or CCR position. And then you're going to immerse the BOV or the DSV in first, and air bubbles will come out. And what you're doing is you're allowing the disinfectant to go into all of the breathing hose itself. None of the hoses should float, and you should see a lot of bubbles come out. This way you can ensure that all the disinfectant is touching everything inside that breathing hose. Kill all the germs that are inside that thing. Step 13, you'll remove the O2 and the diluent cylinders from the shadow mounts. And you can see how I have the unit facing towards my chest so it won't fall off the table. That's the diluent cylinder. I'll replace the pins in a ready mode. and I'll refill the cylinders at my earliest convenience. That is a red dust cap which I put on the O2 inlet side, keep it O2 clean. I'm wiping down the inner couplings of the Pathfinder head, and I'm reinstalling the dust caps, and then I'm going to twist the head off. I will wipe down the head assembly and let it dry. Next step, step 16, remove scrubber canister, write down dive time on tape, and label canister. On step 18, if scrubber absorbent service time has expired, I will remove scrubber and I will dump out the contents. If the scrubber absorbent service time still remains, I will store the canister in a garbage bag, or I can put it back in the gas plenum canister after everything is dried, and then put the head back on. Wiping down the inside of the gas plenum canister, cleaning it all up for next time. Step 19, if removing the subcon connectors, you want to lightly lube the EPDM rubber and the gold contacts with Dow Corning 111 or Molykote 111. And if you need to clean the gold contacts, use electrical contact cleaner. That will not damage the EPDM rubber. If you're going to travel with the subcon connectors disconnected from the head, make sure that you protect the gold contacts with the lock nut that's already on the cable, and put a piece of white tape over it, and that will pretty well protect all the contacts. Usually the last thing is, after about 10 minutes of soaking, I'll empty out the counterlungs and I will hang them upside down. I don't normally rinse my counterlungs, as it's fine to leave the iodine in there. It'll just dry, it's okay. It'll keep working. The reason I do this, I find that if I am in a third world country and I end up rinsing out the disinfectant, it ends up reinfecting the counterlungs with substandard water. I don't want anything growing inside my counterlungs or in the breathing loop. So I go ahead and rinse it with the, after I soak it with the disinfectant, I'll go ahead and hang everything up upside down. Removing the breathing hoses, I'll remove it from the VOV or DSV first, and then the water will run down both sides of the hose. And then you'll see me elongate the hoses to get the remaining material or remaining disinfectant out of the hoses. And then I'll hang it up. And that's pretty much it. On the post dive of the Pathfinder CCR. If there's any questions, contact Innerspace Systems Corporation or an instructor, and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you.